Have you ever felt like everything in your life was falling apart? Like the very foundations of who you thought you were have been shaken, crumbled, and scattered to the winds? I want to talk to you today about something that Carl Jung understood deeply, that what feels like breaking is often actually a sacred reassembly of the self. You see, Jung had this profound insight that what we experience as breakdown is frequently breakthrough in disguise. When he wrote about the process of individuation becoming who we truly are, he wasn't describing a gentle, comfortable journey. He was talking about a complete dismantling and reconstruction of the psyche. Let me ask you something. In those moments when you feel most broken, most scattered and lost, what if you're not actually breaking at all? What if you're being carefully taken apart so that something more authentic, more aligned with your true nature can emerge? Think of a master craftsperson restoring an ancient piece of art. They don't just paint over the cracks. They carefully disassemble the entire work, clean each piece, repair what's damaged, strengthen what's weak, and then reassemble it into something both old and new, something that honors its original essence while becoming more whole than before. This is what's happening to you right now. You're not being destroyed, you're being restored. Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." This process of making the unconscious conscious often feels like everything is falling apart. Your old beliefs start to crumble. Relationships that once seemed essential begin to shift or fade. The identity you carefully constructed starts to feel like an ill-fitting costume. But here's what's really happening. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, is helping you shed what was never truly yours to begin with. Those beliefs? Many of them were inherited, not chosen. Those relationships? Some were based on who you were pretending to be, not who you are. That identity? It was built to please others, to survive, to fit in. But it wasn't built to let your soul breathe. You might be feeling this disassembly in various ways right now. Perhaps you're questioning everything you once held true. Maybe you're feeling drawn to new ideas, new people, new ways of being that both excite and terrify you. You might be experiencing the end of a significant relationship, a career shift, or a spiritual awakening that's shaking your world to its core. This dismantling process often comes with specific signs. Let's explore them together, because recognizing them can help you understand that you're not breaking. You're being rebuilt into something more authentic and powerful. The first sign is a deep sense of disorientation. You may feel like you don't know who you are anymore. The roles you used to play, parent, partner, professional, they still exist, but they feel different somehow. It's as if you're seeing them through new eyes. This isn't madness, it's awakening. Jung would say you're finally seeing through the persona, the social mask, to something more real beneath. Another sign is the emergence of unexpected emotions. You might find yourself crying at strange moments or feeling inexplicably angry about things that never bothered you before. These emotions aren't random. They're parts of yourself that have been locked away, now finally finding their voice. They're pieces of your authentic self, rising to the surface to be integrated into your new wholeness. You might also notice old memories surfacing, particularly ones that carry emotional charge. This isn't your mind tormenting you, it's your psyche bringing forward what needs to be healed, acknowledged, or released. Jung believed that nothing is lost in the psyche. Everything is stored and will return when we're ready to deal with it. The physical world around you might seem to be participating in this reassembly too. You might feel drawn to clear out your living space, change your appearance, or alter long-standing habits. Your body might crave different foods or new forms of movement. These aren't random changes. They're external manifestations of your internal reconstruction. Let me share something personal with you. This process of reassembly isn't just theoretical for me. I've watched countless individuals go through this transformation, and each time I'm struck by how similar the pattern is. It always begins with what feels like destruction, but inevitably leads to something more beautiful and true than what existed before. Think about a caterpillar entering its chrysalis. Inside that dark space, it doesn't just grow wings. It completely liquefies. Its entire body breaks down into a soup of cells before reassembling into a butterfly. If the caterpillar had consciousness, imagine how terrifying that process would feel. But this complete dissolution is necessary for its transformation. You're in your own kind of chrysalis right now. The difference is you're conscious through the process. You can feel yourself dissolving, and it's natural to resist it. But what if you could trust it? What if you could see this dismantling as sacred work? Jung wrote, "There is no coming to consciousness without pain." This pain you're feeling, it's not punishment. It's not a sign that you're doing something wrong. It's the sensation of awakening, of parts of yourself that have been asleep for years finally coming back to life. Let's talk about how to navigate this reassembly process with grace and wisdom. First, you need to understand that resistance only makes it more difficult. When you fight against the dismantling, you create unnecessary suffering. The pieces that need to fall away will fall away regardless. Your resistance just makes the process more painful. Instead, try practicing what I call conscious surrender. This doesn't mean becoming passive or giving up. It means actively participating in your own reassembly while trusting the process. It means asking yourself, what wants to fall away right now? What's trying to emerge? Pay attention to what naturally falls away during this time. Certain friendships might become distant. Some goals might lose their appeal. Activities that once seemed important might feel empty now. This is not loss. It's clearing space. Everything that falls away creates room for something more aligned with your true self to enter. You might notice new interests arising, seemingly out of nowhere. Perhaps you're suddenly drawn to art or meditation or nature in ways you never were before. These aren't random attractions. They're pieces of your authentic self finding their way to the surface. Follow these breadcrumbs. They're leading you home to yourself. Dreams become particularly important during this time of reassembly. Jung considered dreams to be messages from the unconscious, helping to guide our transformation. Pay attention to your dreams now. Keep a journal. Look for recurring themes or symbols. Your unconscious mind is trying to help you understand and integrate this process of change. The body, too, plays a crucial role in this reassembly. You might experience physical symptoms that don't seem to have any medical cause. This is often the body's way of participating in the transformation. Tension, fatigue, changes in sleep patterns. These can all be physical manifestations of your psychological reassembly. Remember, this process isn't linear. You'll have days when you feel completely lost, followed by moments of stunning clarity. You'll experience periods of intense emotion, followed by stretches of strange emptiness. This oscillation is normal. It's part of the restructuring process. One of the most challenging aspects of this reassembly is that it often feels lonely. The people around you might not understand what you're going through. They might try to fix you or return you to your old self. This is why finding the right support is crucial. People who understand that what looks like breaking down is actually breaking through. Jung emphasized the importance of finding meaning in our suffering. This reassembly process becomes more bearable when we understand its purpose. You're not just falling apart, you're being reconstructed into something more authentic, more whole, more aligned with your true nature. Think about a broken bone that hasn't healed properly. Sometimes it needs to be broken again by a skilled doctor to be reset correctly. This is what's happening to you on a soul level. The universe is like that skilled doctor breaking down what was misaligned so it can be reset in proper alignment with your true nature. This process also involves facing your shadow, those parts of yourself you've denied or rejected. As these pieces come up for integration, it can feel overwhelming. But remember what Jung said. One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. You might be wondering how long this process will take. The truth is, there's no fixed timeline for transformation. Just as every butterfly emerges from its chrysalis in its own time, your reassembly will proceed at its own pace. The key is to trust that timing, to know that what feels like too slow or too fast is actually perfect for your unique journey. As you move through this process, you'll start to notice subtle signs of your reassembly taking form. You'll have moments of profound peace amidst the chaos. You'll catch glimpses of a new way of being that feels more authentic than anything you've known before. These are preview moments of your emerging self. The relationships that survive this transformation will be deeper and more authentic. The work you do will be more aligned with your true purpose. The way you move through the world will feel more natural, less forced. This is because you're no longer operating from a constructed self. You're operating from your core truth. You might be asking yourself, what can I do to help this process along? The most important thing is to create space for it. This might mean setting boundaries with people who drain your energy. It might mean spending more time in solitude. It might mean saying no to activities that no longer serve your growth. Practice extreme self-compassion during this time. You're doing incredibly important work, even when it looks like you're doing nothing at all. Rest when you need to rest. Feel what you need to feel. Let the tears come when they need to come. This is all part of the reassembly process. Stay connected to your body through this transformation. Exercise, dance, yoga, walking in nature. Any form of movement that helps you stay grounded in your physical self while your psychological self is being reconstructed. The body can be a powerful anchor during times of profound change. Write about your experience. Journal about your dreams, your fears, your insights. Writing helps to externalize and make sense of what's happening inside you. It also creates a record of your transformation that you can look back on later, seeing how far you've come. Remember that this reassembly process isn't about becoming someone new. It's about becoming who you truly are. It's about shedding the layers of conditioning, false beliefs, and adaptive behaviors that have kept your authentic self hidden. You're not being destroyed, you're being revealed. As we come to the end of our exploration together, I want you to know something important. This process you're going through, it's sacred, it's ancient. It's been experienced by countless souls throughout human history. You're not alone in this transformation, even when it feels that way. You're not broken. You're not failing. You're not losing your mind. You're being reassembled into something more beautiful and true than you can currently imagine. Trust this process. Trust your journey. Trust the wisdom that's guiding this transformation. Remember what Jung said. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. This reassembly you're experiencing, it's not just breakdown, it's breakthrough. It's not just pain, it's rebirth. It's not just ending, it's beginning. You're being rebuilt piece by piece into something magnificent, something real, something true. And though the process may feel chaotic now, know that there is divine order in this dismantling. There is purpose in this pain. There is meaning in this transformation. You're not broken, dear one. You're being reassembled into who you were always meant to be. And that process, though challenging, is the most beautiful journey you'll ever undertake. Trust it. Allow it. Embrace it. Your true self is emerging, and it's more wonderful than you can imagine. Let me share something profound that Jung discovered in his work with patients going through this process of reassembly. He noticed that just before the greatest breakthroughs, people often experienced what he called the dark night of the soul, a period of intense confusion and despair that preceded transformation. If you're in that darkness right now, know that it's not just normal, it's necessary. Think about how a seed must completely break apart in the dark soil before it can begin to sprout. The shell cracks, the inside turns to mush, and in that messy, dark space, new life begins to form. Your current experience of falling apart is just like that seed. It's the necessary chaos before emergence. You might be wondering why this reassembly process feels so intense, so all-encompassing. That's because it's not just happening on one level. It's occurring simultaneously in your mind, body, emotions, and spirit. Your entire being is participating in this reconstruction. Let's talk about some of the deeper aspects of this process that often get overlooked. First, there's the ancestral component. Jung believed that we carry not just our own psychological material, but also the unresolved patterns of our family line. Sometimes, what feels like personal breakdown is actually you addressing and healing ancestral wounds that have been passed down through generations. Then there's the collective dimension. We're living in a time of tremendous societal change and upheaval. Your personal reassembly is taking place within this larger context of collective transformation. You might be feeling not just your own pain, but also the growing pains of a world in transition. One of the most beautiful aspects of this process is how it changes your relationship with vulnerability. When you're being reassembled, you can't maintain the old masks and defenses. You're forced to be real, to be authentic, to be vulnerable. And while this might feel frightening at first, it's actually your gateway to genuine connection with others. You might notice that your sensitivity is increasing. Colors seem brighter, emotions feel stronger, intuitive hits come more frequently. This isn't you becoming weak. It's you becoming more alive. As the old structures fall away, your natural sensitivity and perceptiveness have room to emerge. Let me ask you something. Have you noticed that time feels different lately? Maybe the past seems increasingly distant, while the present moment feels more vivid and real? This is another sign of reassembly. You're shifting from living in mental constructs about time to experiencing life more directly, more immediately. Your relationship with silence is probably changing too. Where you might have once filled every moment with noise or activity, you might now find yourself craving quiet. This is your soul asking for the space it needs to complete this delicate process of reconstruction. The way you experience love might be transforming as well. Old patterns of attachment and dependency may be falling away, making room for a more mature, conscious way of relating. This can feel disorienting at first, but it's actually you learning to love from wholeness rather than need. Your creativity might be expressing itself in new ways. Maybe you're drawn to forms of expression you've never explored before. This isn't random. It's your reassembled self finding new channels for authentic expression. Follow these creative impulses. They're showing you aspects of yourself that are ready to emerge. One of the most challenging aspects of this process is learning to trust when everything feels uncertain. The old you knew how to control and plan. The emerging you is learning to flow, to trust, to move with life rather than trying to force it into submission. Remember that this reassembly isn't about reaching some final perfect state. It's about becoming more fluid, more adaptable, more authentic in each moment. You're not trying to build a new fixed identity. You're learning to dance with continuous evolution. Your relationship with power is likely shifting too. Where you might have once sought power through control or dominance, you're now discovering a different kind of power. The power that comes from authenticity, vulnerability, and truth. Pay attention to what makes you feel alive right now. What brings you energy? What lights you up from within? These are not just preferences. They're signposts pointing toward your authentic expression. Follow them, even if they lead you in unexpected directions. You might notice that your values are shifting. Things that once seemed important might now feel empty, while simple experiences, a sunset, a deep conversation, a moment of genuine connection, suddenly feel precious and meaningful. This is your authentic self emerging with its own natural values and priorities. The process of reassembly often brings up grief. Grief for the old self, grief for lost time, grief for relationships that couldn't survive your transformation. Honor this grief. It's a sacred part of the process, making space for new life to emerge. Your dreams might be more vivid and meaningful during this time. Pay attention to them. Jung believed that dreams show us aspects of ourselves that are ready to be integrated. They're like preview moments of your emerging wholeness. You might find yourself drawn to new symbols, images, or archetypes. Perhaps certain animals keep appearing in your life, or specific symbols show up repeatedly. These aren't coincidences. They're your psyche communicating through the language of symbol and metaphor. Trust that this process has its own intelligence. You don't need to figure everything out or control how it unfolds. Your job is to stay present, to keep showing up, to keep saying yes to what life is asking of you in each moment. Remember that you're not just being reassembled for yourself, you're being reassembled for the world. Your transformation serves a larger purpose, The more whole you become, the more you can contribute to the healing and evolution of the collective. As we come to the close of our exploration together, I want to remind you of something essential. This process of reassembly is not just about surviving. It's about coming alive. It's about becoming more fully yourself than you've ever been before. You are not broken. You are not lost. You're in the midst of a sacred transformation. Trust it, honor it, allow it to make you new. And remember, as Jung so beautifully said, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. This reassembly is your path to that privilege. Embrace it with all your heart. Let me share one final insight that Jung emphasized throughout his work: the importance of paradox and transformation. You see, during this reassembly process, you'll often find yourself holding seemingly contradictory truths. You're both breaking and becoming whole. You're both dying and being reborn. You're both losing yourself and finding yourself. This ability to hold paradox is actually a sign of psychological maturity. The old you might have needed everything to be clear, certain, and categorized. The emerging you understands that truth is often found in the both and rather than the either-or. You might be experiencing this paradox right now. Perhaps you feel simultaneously more vulnerable and more powerful than ever before. Maybe you feel both more alone and more connected. You might feel both more lost and more found than you've ever been. This is not confusion. It's expansion. You're developing the capacity to hold life's full complexity. During this process of reassembly, you'll likely notice that your relationship with time is transforming. The future might feel less like something to plan and more like something to unfold into. The past might feel less like a story you're bound to and more like a collection of experiences that serve their purpose. Your relationship with your body is probably shifting too. As the reassembly continues, you might find yourself naturally drawn to different foods, different forms of movement, different ways of caring for your physical self. Trust these changes. Your body knows what it needs to support this transformation. One of the most beautiful aspects of this process is how it changes your relationship with yourself. The inner critic that once seemed so loud begins to soften. The harsh judgments that once felt so true begin to dissolve. You're learning to hold yourself with the same compassion you'd offer a beloved friend. Remember that this reassembly process isn't just about personal healing. It's about becoming a clearer channel for something greater than yourself. As you become more whole, you naturally become a source of healing and inspiration for others, not through trying or doing, but simply through being. You might notice that your presence affects people differently now. Some might feel inexplicably drawn to you, while others might feel uncomfortable around you. This is normal. Your authentic energy will attract what resonates and naturally repel what doesn't. Your relationship with purpose is likely transforming too. Instead of seeking purpose as something to achieve or accomplish, you might find it revealing itself naturally through what brings you alive. Purpose becomes less about doing and more about being true to your authentic nature. As we come to the end of our journey together, I want to remind you of something essential. This process of reassembly never truly ends. You'll continue to evolve, to shed what no longer serves, to integrate new aspects of yourself. But you'll do so from a place of greater trust, understanding, and self-compassion. You're learning to dance with uncertainty, to find stability not in fixed structures, but in your own capacity to adapt and flow. You're discovering that security comes not from controlling life, but from trusting your ability to respond to whatever life brings. Remember that every great transformation story includes moments of doubt, confusion, and seeming chaos. These aren't obstacles to your reassembly. They're essential parts of it. They're the dark soil from which your new self grows. Trust the wisdom that's guiding this process. Trust the timing, even when it feels too slow or too fast. Trust that everything you're experiencing is contributing to your emergence, even if you can't see how right now. You are not broken. You are not failing. You are not lost. You are being lovingly, carefully, purposefully reassembled into something more beautiful and true than you can currently imagine. And so I leave you with this final thought. The discomfort you feel is not the pain of breaking. It's the sensation of your wings unfurling. Trust this process. Trust your journey. Trust the wisdom that's rebuilding you piece by precious piece into who you were always meant to be. You are the butterfly emerging from the chrysalis. You are the phoenix rising from the ashes. You are the seed breaking open to reach for the light. And this process of reassembly, though challenging, is the most sacred journey you'll ever undertake. Remember, as Jung so wisely said, in all chaos, there is a cosmos. In all disorder, a secret order. Your reassembly is part of that secret order. Trust it. Allow it. Embrace it. Your true self is emerging, and it's more wonderful than you can imagine. You've always been the one you've been waiting for. Now, finally, you're becoming ready to meet yourself in all your authentic glory. Welcome home, dear one. Welcome home.